the Rangers Turtlenecks.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's post-match reaction to Rangers 1, Panathinaikos 1, and which was probably one of the hardest watches I think I've had in a long time in a European game, but we're through. Russell Martin is still on undefeated, so he's still got a good record. Ryan, Tam, and Richard are joining me tonight, so we'll just go through each one and we'll just get their initial reaction to the game, and then we'll dive a wee bit deeper. Ryan, just your thoughts initially then on the result in the match.
The result, great. The match, not so much. There's still obvious rooms for improvement in various different departments within the team. But the result is all that matters, and the results will be in the history books moving forward. So I'm glad it's done. Let's draw a line under it. Let's look forward to the next one.
Tam, how do you feel after watching that?
I know I should be happy we're through, but it didn't fill me with much hope, really. I feel a bit down after it, really.
How can you be down after we've qualified? How can you be down after we've qualified?
We're not fully qualified yet.
Aye, but we're through at the next stage. Come on.
Aye, but it's... Don't get me wrong, getting through, good. But we definitely, as Ryan said, we do have room for improvement. It was not a good performance.
Richard, how do you see it all?
Got to agree with the performance. I think pretty much every single fan, especially those watching it on the TV, were probably behind the sofa at one point or another in the 90 minutes. But look at the positives. We're through. We have guaranteed ourselves European football, all right? European group football and Europa League at a bare minimum.
Yeah.
And we all love our Thursday nights, so we've got that at the very least to look forward to. But I can't say that happy with performance, as in the result, sorry, but the performance, I was quite concerned with some of the stuff that I saw tonight, basically.
I think we were expecting the onslaught. It was always going to happen, weren't they? They were going to come out after us because they had to. I just think, in terms of how we dealt with that, I think it was jittery and nervous, but I think that's part of the style that he wants to play. Because you could see that it was all about ball retention and trying to play in channels and playing passes that we shouldn't really be playing in a game like that. We should be looking to get the ball long and try and push them back up the pitch instead of keep inviting them on top of us, which is what we seem to do. So I do think his style of play there is probably was part of our own downfall for the game, but we made it through. I think on reflection, I think we may be thinking about it differently. Ryan, then we'll dive into the first half. It's pretty much just basically them peppering us for 45 minutes, really, isn't it?
Yeah, Jack Butland's everything bad I said about Jack Butland, I feel so guilty for now. He's had another 2 or 3 absolutely fantastic saves. He's bailing his team out time and time again. I don't think if it was for Jack Butland, I don't think we'd be sitting here qualified, to be honest with you, for his performance over the 2 legs. So I feel a wee bit guilty for the kind of stick that I gave him towards some points last season, but maybe it was justified at the time. We don't know. But we're causing our own problems. The one that I think probably the worst chance that they missed was the one that Big Jigger gave the ball. He's trying to pass the ball to Tav's feet a yard away. He's been pinched in front of him, and they've laid it across to the boy, and he's somehow managed to put it in the car park. And it was a shocker. Any player worth their socks at professional level should be smashing that in the back of the net and running and getting the ball back. So it was a let off again. But it's just, I think we were just the victims of our own downfall. I don't think they were particularly great. I think obviously the fact that we have qualified over them, we're in transition, shows that they're not particularly great. So I think they'll be quite disappointed. But it's all about Butland in the first half. Butland was incredible. McDowell had a good half as well. I thought that obviously we would all say, I can't believe he's starting again. Why is he not playing the wee man? But you see the amount of kind of defensive headers he's got at the back post. He's made a couple of important challenges. He's been clever enough to take a yellow card at the end of the first half as well. So, kudos to Dill. He's taken a lot of stick and a lot of people have asked him about the door, including myself. So maybe we've got to sit back and eat a wee bit of humble pie for a few of the performances.
Tam, just touching on what Ryan's saying about Butland, do you think he's going to be the number one for the season going forward? Do you think Kelly's got a sniff if he's putting performances like that in Europe?
If Butland's shown these sort of performances, then I don't think there's any chance in hell for Kelly, to be honest. Butland is the only reason that we are through. It's nothing to do with the goals. It's all Butland. The amount of saves he's made over the past 2 legs is quite phenomenal, to be honest. The one that just sticks in my mind was from last week. I know we're touching on today, but last week, the one where the boy was just in front of goal, hit it with decent power, and Butland's went down to his left and somehow managed to keep it out. If he's shown these sort of performances, then Liam Kelly saw him, but you've not got a chance. I don't think Liam Kelly could keep us in that tie like Jack Butland did.
That's fair. Richard, I'm just going over Ryan's notes here. I've got criminal mistake. I've got shooter shocking. See these kind of mistakes. And these mistakes with your boy Jigga, that's the second time we've seen him make a mistake like that in a game. Do you think this is something we're just going to have to get used to with the style of play, or do you think it's just the player himself? Do you think he's just adapting and it's just, what do you think?
Well, I think it goes without saying that it's definitely the style of play we're going to have to get used to. It was said all over the shop that that's going to happen. We knew what the football we were going to get under Russell Martin. We knew mistakes were going to happen at the back. Not just because of the players that we've got, they are going to make mistakes because of the nature of their ability, but learning something new, something they're not used to, it goes without saying. It's tough to watch at times. I can't remember how many times I was frustrated with a long ball, like a 30-yard pass into the middle of the park to a guy with his back to goal and a player directly behind him that just bounced off him. That frustrated the absolute hell out of me. I don't know. I think we are just going to have to get used to it. It looks like you brought Jigen, who's going to be probably one of our first choice centre backs. He looked a little bit shaky as well. Still a relatively young player, but even him performing to that style didn't look totally comfortable. And I'm just going to add to your previous question, what you were saying about Butland. Yeah, Butland kept us in a tie, and probably we went through because of him. But tonight, he made saves, but I don't think it was a commanding performance. Like, for example, the first save that was sort of threw it into the box, I thought he should have come out, dived at the feet and had the ball been all over it. But instead he retreated back and, all right, he made the save, but the rebound went straight into the box. Luckily, went to one of our players, but I thought that should have been his all day long. The other one, later on in the second half, I'm sure we'll come to. Don't get me wrong, he made the saves with a header pretty much straight at him, but I don't think it was an assured, confident performance. But he's the number one, and I think he's going to remain that way. But hopefully it will build his confidence going forward.
I think you're right. It wasn't an assured, confident performance, but I think that goes with the team because the back line wasn't assured and wasn't composed. The midfield tried to be assured and composed in different areas of the game in different moments, but not throughout the game.
One thing, sorry to interrupt me, let's say it wasn't a sure performance throughout the entire team, but what I could say is that everyone worked their socks off. You know what I mean? No matter, people made mistakes, sloppy passes, things like that. We could tell they were tired, but there was nobody on that pitch I thought wasn't trying, wasn't working their socks off, to be fair.
Ryan touched that obviously about Dial. Like there was a big apprehension about Dial starting again, but you can see the work ethics there, and that's all we as fans really can ask for, especially in a game like that where you're going to have to basically run your bollocks off in 30-degree heat and very, very humid. It's horrible conditions. I wouldn't want to be playing a 90-minute football match in that heat, that's for sure. Brian, I'm looking at the comments here, and Aaron's is getting a lot of shade thrown his way. Do you think? I think he's just a player out of position, trying to do his best, trying to do his best.
100%. I would be cautious of the criticism of him, as I actually think the boy's a very good player.
Yeah.
You've seen he switched over to the right hand side tonight and almost instantly became more effectual. He's had a strong hand in the goal in the game last week because he's basically jumped into right. Tavernier was still in the park, and he's jumped into right back to tackle a guy, and he set his away to Diamandi to Gassama for the goal. So I'd be, watch the credit. We need a left back, definitely. The wee man's not a left back. He's doing a job for us just now. Yeah. So we need to give the guy a wee chance and appreciate the fact that there is a certain amount of versatility within his game that he can go over there and do that competently for him. He's actually keeping an actual left back out of the team at the moment. So and I thought Jeff did, without jumping too far ahead, I thought Jeff did done okay when he came on as well. But I'd be, I wouldn't want to criticise that wee guy too much. I think he's doing a job for us at the moment.
Yeah, no, I agree. Just something I've just noticed in the chat, and I did kind of notice it on Twitter the last couple of days that he seems to be one that some fans have taken exception to. But he's a guy that's playing out of position, and you're always going to struggle if you're being asked to play on your wrong foot, but still expected to do the same job. Tam, well, start the second half, then sort of the same things really carry on. We're making our own mistakes. They're coming on to us, and then eventually they get the goal. Now, initially when it went, I was fuming with Doyle because Doyle's let his man go, but you actually see in the replay, Doyle's actually trying to play the line, so he's doing the right thing, but the line doesn't move because there's that many of them in the line. It's too tight, it's too compact, and it just was always going to happen, I think, with a ball like that in the box. Did you have any qualms with the goal? Did you think we could have done better with it? Or
I think with any goal, we can always do better. I was adamant it was offside. I was shouting at the referee through my TV. Obviously, when I saw it back, it wasn't. I'm not 100% sure what we could have done better, because with a ball like that into the box, there's not really. Sometimes there isn't much you can do. Obviously, Jack Butland didn't really get there, but I mean, it's just something that we can look back on and learn from, and certain players in defence can maybe get a bit more switched on from as well.
Richard, your thoughts on the goal? I'm just looking at the comments here. They're saying the marking was poor.
To be honest, I was a little bit frustrated with it because although the ball was put in a good area, but it wasn't whipped in. He was the guy that scored. I can't remember the name of the player, but he was sort of left on his own. And at first, I thought, because it seemed like a poor header from him, so I was looking at Butland thinking, how was he unable to get that? But he did put it wrong foot him almost, so I quickly dismissed that. But good ball in the right area, but we'll be expecting us to defend better there, basically.
Yeah, Doug's basically highlighting the fact that Arns and Jigger are too slow to come out and with the rest of the line. That's why the goal was.
Can I come around that, Doug?
Yeah, 100%.
Jock, look at Doug in the comments. Sorry, Jock. See the crime that's actually caused the goal. The crime that caused the goal is allowing the cross to come in. Yeah. The line's done its best within there, and it's a wee bit. It's unlucky. The technology's crap. The technology of the VAR is an absolute joke. How long it takes, and the line that eventually gets drawn, it's like a crayon. It's brutal. But the crime, if we stop that cross coming in, we've got nothing to worry about. That's where it should have been stopped. The fact that the guy's lost his man at the back post and stuff like that happens. The fact that the guy's not got out quick enough happens. The problem is that the cross is stoppable. If we work harder, we stop the cross coming in, we've got nothing to worry about.
Yeah. Ryan, I'll stick with you then. The next point I have is, so they score and then straight away they're straight on top of us again, and they flash the ball across the box. I had heart palpitations. I thought there's somebody at the back post going to nip in here, because usually taps the area where somebody's in ahead of him and taps in the net.
Yep.
Anything else on that you want to add?
No, it's basically just we've got to defend and stuff. I thought he was a tiny wee bit slow in getting the subs on at that point. I thought you could see quite a few of the guys were blown, particularly the Neil up front was blown at that point. I thought Mark was a tiny wee bit slow in getting the subs on at that point. I thought he should have maybe just taken a couple of minutes, after they scored, because they obviously, like you said, they came straight back up on top of us. Once they scored, get somebody down with cramp, break the play up, play the European game, get there, get the water in, get the instructions on, and get the subs on. So we've just got to get a wee bit smarter when it comes to things like that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think to get the dark arts and game management side is something I think we need to maybe try and get into our repertoire, because it's something we come, obviously, because we play European football every season, and we play European football deep into competitions every season as well. And it's something I don't think that we utilise much, but other teams seem to do, because they were straight off the back last week at Ibrox. They were rolling about and throwing themselves about. And look at the Fenerbahce game last season. You had Mourinho talking about stuff as well at times. So I do think it's something I think we need to be a wee bit more smarter in situations like that. Tam, then I'll come to you for the goal. Gassama again seems to picks up a sort of second or third sort of shot, ricochet in the box. It's a bit of sort of pinball, but he finds a far corner with a bloody good finish.
I've got 3 words. Well, 2. Gassama Mia. That boy is absolutely unreal. Just having the composure to be able to say that, to be able to
You've
do
been
that
thinking about that all
absolutely.
night.
What?
You've been thinking about that all night. Sorry.
You think about it all night and you get it wrong?
Get yourselves to. No, but genuinely, he's a class player. Obviously, it was a ricochet, but being able to have the composure to put that in is absolutely unreal. So fair play to the boy. I think he's someone that we're going to have to watch out for, and I would say that he has to start against Motherwell. There was somebody in the comments earlier on that said if Gassama came on for them, we would have been thumped, and I totally believe that. He looks like the spark in our team just now. He looks like just someone that we can rely on, and I hope he can prove that this season.
Richard, do you see much to get excited about with the guy? 2 goals, 2 games.
Absolutely.
He's on the pitch 2 minutes. He's getting goals. He's certainly something different, isn't he?
He is. Let's say he's doing everything that's asked of him. He's getting the fans on the edge of their seat. It's what we want to see. Every time he gets the ball, it's almost getting to the point you're expecting something to happen, and he's making it happen so far. So I don't want to get too excited because he's still a young kid. It's only been 2 games, so we don't want to be expecting something too much too soon. But whether or not he starts at Motherwell, it's going to be a different type of game. He probably does deserve to start, to be fair. Well, I'm sure that will all depend on his fitness. But imagine what it's going to be like on the 60th minute and we bring him on. One, how the fans are going to feel. It's going to give them a lift, and it's going to probably, terrify Motherwell. So as much as he probably does deserve to start, it'll be really interesting to see him come off the bench, especially if going against some tired Motherwell players. So I can see the arguments on both sides.
Yeah, I wonder if he will start on Saturday, because he only didn't start the night. Just flip it, and then Curtis can come on, or maybe if we get somebody in the door. Judging maybe talks that we're having on reports we're seeing online.
Going on what you're saying there, sorry to interrupt, but I thought Curtis was pretty quiet today. I mean, nobody really massively stood out in the Rangers squad. We got through, that was it. Everybody worked hard, but there was not really a great deal from Curtis. And that, I'm not really blaming it on him. It was the nature of the game and the way the entire team was playing. But I was hoping for a bit more, let's say. But again, young kid, so I'm not going to hold that against him anyway. But I thought it was extremely quiet, extremely.
Ryan, I have a question here from Mark. Now, this maybe doesn't reflect tonight's game and the last week's game, but I think it's going to probably reflect the season at the moment. What do you think of the Rangers midfield under Russell Martin's style of play?
I don't think we get the ball out wide enough, quickly enough. and even in the opportunities that it does arise to get the ball out wide, I don't think we do it. I think there's a wee bit kind of too much tippy-tappy in the middle. There seems to be this crazy straight pass that they seem to always want to play right through the middle, and it's as straight as an arrow right up the middle of the park to bring somebody in, and it's teams are starting to read it now already, so we need to be quite careful of that. Didn't think Diamandi had his most effectual game tonight, although I think he did do quite a few yards for us.
Yeah.
Drew a few fouls and stuff. Thought Raskin was better as the game. Raskin got better as the game started to go on. Don't think he started as well as what he could, but as the game started to kind of progress and other legs started to get tired, I felt he actually started to get a bit stronger. Rothwell just seems to be just a running machine. Just seems to be constantly just getting about everywhere. On that kind of side of things. So I mean, I've no major defence. Midfield for me is absolutely no concern at all. Rangers at the moment, as long as we can keep a hold of the guys that we've got. Possibly, I'd maybe one more wee bit of quality in there. We've got Asgard to still come back, and I'm interested to see what he brings for us. There's other parts of the park that there, so we need to, But I'm not. I just wish we would just use the parks a bit bigger, especially Ibrox. Ibrox is a massive park. And we've got Speedster, we've got Curtis in there, we've got Kasama, we've got Speedsters in there. Cortez has got legs on a good day, so we need to start using the width of the park and start using the park more.
No, I agree. I'd be more worried that we lost one of these three, and Asgar's injured. There's nobody come in with quality to replace him. But
Raskin especially is my biggest concern. I think Raskin would be a massive loss for us now. When I was ready to start pre-season, I was very much in the camp of sell him, cash in on him. But now I would do everything I possibly can to keep him. Get him signed up in the new contract, ask him to stay till at least the World Cup next year, go and broadcast himself all over the world and see what comes from that.
No, I agree. Tam, so we've moved on then from Kusama's goal. Again, it's more their sort of, I think the goal sucked the life out of the stadium. The goal, because if we hit them, hit them back so quickly after them missing that chance at the back post, we get the goal. I think that suckered them, and I don't think they were ready for it. They huffed and puffed, and then was it 91st minute? Dessers has a one-on-one keeper. Were you surprised he missed? Did you expect him to score?
With all my previous knowledge of Dessers, I expected him to miss.
Really?
I didn't really have any high hopes for him. It was it's a one-on-one. One-on-ones, the striker should win, but that's Cyril Dessers, and we've seen him in situations like that before. The way I like to describe Dessers is, see if he has too much time to think, then he's screwed, basically. See when it's just off the cuff and he's getting no clue what's going on and he knows he just needs to poke it towards goal, that's where he shines. Obviously, he's not a Rangers number 9. A Rangers number 9 would score that. But I wasn't too surprised it didn't score.
Richard, Tam's saying there that if he has time to think, it's usually the wrong thing he picks, where if he hits it on the cuff, kind of reminds me of Nacho Nova a wee bit. What did you think?
Exact same. I mean, I was screaming and shouting at the telly when he missed it, to be honest, but looking back, nobody's surprised that it's happened, and Tam's right. It's when he's got time is the ones when he misses it, the ones where you think, it's dead easy score, just pass it in the net. Doesn't happen. Sure, the commentators will probably say, or they use the term, he's an instinctive striker when he doesn't have time. But those are your bread and butter. Those are the ones where you've only got that one chance. You need to be putting them away. That's a clear chance that you're going to get. That's what strikers make their money with. And if he's not putting them away, we need to find someone that will, because on a different game, and it will happen again in Europe this season. There'll be a one-on-one chance that needs to be buried, and we need somebody that's going to do it, because it might be the only chance we got.
Should he have squared it?
I think, yeah, absolutely. He should have scored it, to be honest.
No, squared it. He should have squared it.
But
Ramsey was on the far side, free.
A good striker would never have squared that. Put it that way. Alan McCoy's not a chance now. He would have squared that. He would have buried it. All right, strikers want the goals. They want the glory. Team players, I get what you're saying, but we want a striker that's got the confidence and belief and got that instinct to just put the ball in the back of the net. That's what we're lacking, and Dessers doesn't have it. as much as I like him, but he doesn't have it.
Ryan?
I was shouting at him going to the corner flag. I seen him go 1-on-1 and go to the corner flag, big man. That's the safest place for it. No, but in all seriousness, in defence, I pasted the big man on Monday night on the podcast. Gave him a right hard time for his performance on Saturday because I thought he was miserable on Saturday. But to be fair, I actually thought he offered more. In the short time he was on the park tonight, I thought he offered more on the final third than Danilo did the whole night. And I know that's harsh on Danilo, but I thought Big Dessers actually put himself about well and caused a few problems. And another day he scores that. Maybe it was just the fact he was coming off the bench and he wasn't up to match speed that he scored it. But it's the rough and the smooth of the big one. I thought he done okay. I thought he was causing a lot of problems. He won us a few fouls. He was making a nuisance of himself. He was making himself hard to play against. Thought Danilo was very passive tonight.
Danilo? Go ahead, Tim.
I'm not certainly not disagreeing with you, such Ryan, but just to say that it's a different game from the first half, from when Dessers came on. You know, Panathinaikos were pushing forward, taking more risks. He had a lot more space than what Danilo had. That's why Danilo kept coming back into the midfield to try and get the ball. Or it was bouncing off him. He was working. Completely agree with your point, but what I would say in defence of Danilo, it was a different game because Panathinaikos were pushing harder when Dessers came on for the goals.
Yeah. I'm not saying Danilo wasn't working hard. I dare say if he managed to get hold of his running stats tonight, he probably did put his effort in his run. I don't think he got in the ball. You know, at no point during the game did he ever look like scoring, considering he's playing up front as a lone striker. There's no point I ever thought he's got a chance to score here. But I mean, he did. I'll be totally fair. The defence, he had a couple of shots at the goalkeeper, which has led to Gassama's goal as well. You know, they could easily go into the keeper's legs and go into the back of the net. So, in fairness to him, I just felt when Dessers came on, I just felt it offered that different dimension up front.
Yeah, I think you're right. I felt sorry for Danilo because we were under the cosh for much of the first half, so we couldn't get the ball for the back to the front anyway. You know what I mean? There was no stringing a pass together or looking after the ball, and it was just so disjointed and just a bit of a mess. And I think the second half, you know, it started much the same, and then obviously they scored. But here, look, we got the draw at the end of the day. Before we move on, then I'll just give a shout out to our sponsor, which is Off to the Match I Go. If you head over to the website and you're doing a bit of shopping, just make sure you put Journal 10 on the coupon bit at the bottom, and you'll get 10% off anything that you purchase on the website. So looking then potentially at who we're going to face at the next round, it's currently 2 each on aggregate with Servette and Victoria Pleasant. Both teams have a man sent off currently, and there's 79 minutes, so that could go either way. I think obviously we've played Servette before and we've got past Servette, so I'm assuming that would be the ones that we're looking for. Am I right in saying that if we get through that set of fixtures, that's us in? There's not a third round. No, is there another round?
There's a
playoff round.
There's another round, so there's 3 rounds.
Oh, there's the playoff round.
But we'll probably guaranteed ourselves Europa League football at least with us.
Yeah, we've guaranteed ourselves group football. If we fall out of this stage now, we go to Europa League playoff. If we fall out of the Europa League playoff, we go to the Conference League proper.
Right. I was under the impression that winning tonight guarantees us Europa League football. Am I wrong?
Listen, I might be wrong. Actually, yes. Now that you're saying that, yeah, I think you might be right.
The win tonight gave us guaranteed football up until January.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah. Right.
Doug's got something here for us. Look, we beat Plitz and Servette like to meet Benfica, Club Brugge.
Club Brugge again.
Benfica would be a horrible time. That would be Benfica, man.
Benfica would be.
I don't want Club Brugge either.
Although Benfica aren't the team they were a couple of years ago when we played them under JR, but it's still a Portuguese technical team that would probably pass.
Still a lot of young boys in that team that are coming in to try and prove themselves to get bigger moves, make more money.
Aye. Plenty to look forward to then of the next couple of weeks. Then obviously, first league game of the season on Saturday, and then another round of European fixtures. We'll wrap it up here, folks. We're through. Wasn't pretty, but we got there. Ryan, just your closing thoughts before we head into Saturday's game.
No, listen, I'm buzzing. It was great. You know, you sat down looking at this before the game. Of course, you're going to be taking it. You're more than happy with it. I think we've got through the game, hopefully injury free as well, by the looks of it. So it's just a case of getting back, get the guys rested up, get them ready. Am I right in saying they're playing on Sunday as well? We're playing on Saturday, they're playing Sunday.
Sunday, yeah.
Let's get there and get a right good result on Saturday and put a marker and get the pressure on early. Go for it.
Tam, closing thoughts?
Aye, we're through. That's what it is. None of these survey or Pleasant look any good. I've been watching the game as well, so should be through the next round. But aye, let's go out on Saturday, smash Motherwell to pieces, be top of the league, and have a class season.
Richard, final thoughts before we close up?
Same. All right. Concerns over the performance, but results what matters tonight. We've got the result. We're through. Hopefully, more favourable tie in the next round. What we need to do is go on Saturday and put a marker down. It's a different type of game. We know we're going to have majority of the ball. This is what Martin was brought in to do. You know, his style of football. Let's see what he does against that low block. We know what's going to happen. And I think getting a good result, good performance, putting a marker down to show that, you know, people stand up and take notice. Because if there's no point, well, good performances over the last couple of games, it will be for nothing if it doesn't happen on Saturday. So I think it's really important we go off to a good start and start, you know, letting others take notice of what we're up to.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's still early days for Russell Martin. He's had 2 competitive games. The rest have been friendlies. Ideally, would have played more games at a decent level against decent competition to bed in this new style of football that we're watching in front of our eyes, which tonight wasn't the right way of going about it. But look, it's got a result. We're through.
Yep.
More money in the bank, as far as
I say something just before we go, Jock, as well.
Yep.
I thought the away fans tonight were absolutely fantastic. I thought the boys that were tired, they were loud and proud tonight. So safe travels for them home. I thought they were absolutely fantastic for the team tonight. No doubt they made a difference for them.
I'm a little bit disappointed. One of them didn't get on that PA system. You know, how loud it was coming through. Imagine one of the songs coming out through over that. That'd have been brilliant. But you're right, mate. You could hear them all the way through. Great, as always.
Yeah, as always, we'd always have a good travelling support, and I say there'll be plenty more of that. Hopefully, before the season goes on. When I say we're guaranteed European football for January, there'll be plenty of away trips for the supporters groups and that. Guys, thanks very much for joining us tonight. One each. We're through to the next round. As I say, there's money in the kitty. Hopefully, just to get more players on the door before the next set of European fixtures. That'd be ideal. Roll on Saturday. I hope everybody enjoys the game that goes. And just remember, every night's a Rangers Journal night.